8:05 now the time, and we are connecting now to Congress this morning. I'm joined by our Representative Vince Fong, who's in D.C. this morning on Capitol Hill. And by the way, good morning and congratulations on the brand new baby boy that you have.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for that. We're not sleeping a whole lot, but we're blessed. We're blessed.
That's great. Well, let's get into this because the president's big, beautiful bill. His goal is to have it voted on by and passed by next Friday, Independence Day. Does that even look possible right now?
Well, there's a lot of things going on right now. I saw a couple senators on the House floor just this morning as we were finishing up votes. So a lot of things are dynamic right now, but this bill is extremely important. Our goal is to try to get this done by July 4th. I mean, we're trying to prevent the largest tax hike in American history. A lot of your viewers don't realize that the tax cuts that were passed in 2017, they expire at the end of the year. So that's a critical component. It's important for our small businesses. It's important for all taxpayers, and not only in California, but across the country. This also has historic investments in securing our border. It makes huge investments in providing additional resources to our national defense, giving our military additional platforms and technology. We see how important that is with what's going on in the Middle East and what's going on around the world. It allows us to streamline the process to allow for more domestic oil and gas production. Important for us in California as we see gas prices at as high as they are. There's a number of other things, other infrastructure projects, building more roads. I mean, so there's a lot of things, and we're also ensuring the solvency of our Medicaid system, of our SNAP system. They're going insolvent if we don't do anything. So there's a lot of components and a lot of important provisions and policies in this bill that we have to get done.
Well, let me take you into that because I think one of the biggest takeaways of the bill that Democrats are really concerned about, and you hear a lot in the news, is Medicaid cuts. And so I want to play for you a soundbite from Senator from Illinois, Tammy Duckworth, about those cuts, and then get your take on this.
A party that says they want smaller governments, they seem to be creating more government bureaucracy. So they're going to start a new fund with more bureaucracy about it that hospitals have to apply for to get this money.
So what I want to know, what are the actual cuts to Medicaid that Republicans want? Because my understanding is that some of these cuts are heavily focused on illegal immigrants not receiving health care, but poor U.S. citizens can. But if you're eligible to work, there is some types of work requirements. What are these actual cuts?
Well, I think there's a lot of demonization there. When you look at what we're trying to do, is we're trying to ensure that the Medicaid system is solvent for future generations, ensuring that this program, which is vital for our vulnerable populations, whether it's pregnant women, children, those with disabilities. And so doing nothing, this program goes insolvent. So we're going to go over time, we're going to continue to spend more on Medicaid. So I think that's the first important point. We spend $800 billion right now a year on Medicaid. And at the end of this 10-year window, we'll spend over $1 trillion. But what we're trying to do is that we're trying to eliminate the waste and fraud that's there. So yes, we shouldn't give a Medicaid or free health care to those who are here illegally. That's number one. Two, there should be work requirements so that if you're an able-bodied person, that you should be able to sort of look for a job, that you should volunteer in your community. And that's a specific thing that goes back to President Clinton. We're taking his work requirements and saying, look, if you can work, we encourage you to do that so that we can make you self-sufficient. We also are going to do eligibility checks. If you look at the recent audits of the Medicaid system, 1 out of every 6 people that are on Medicaid are not eligible. So why would we as taxpayers fund healthcare to those who are not eligible to Medicaid already? It would be like someone who's not a veteran getting veterans benefits. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And so, and of course, there's a whole lot of challenges that the state's doing. The state of California is taking Medicaid dollars and they're diverting it to fix their budget deficit. That's not right. And so that's what we're trying to do, is to ensure that the federal funds that go to the state of California, that they actually go to eligible recipients and to vulnerable populations that need it. That's what we're trying to do. And as I said before, we're going to continue to spend more money on Medicaid to ensure that those who are eligible, they get the health benefits that they deserve.
Okay, so I'm just making it clear then, because a lot of times we see this on a lot of these news reports that Medicaid wants to be cut, but these are not cuts to Americans. This is just into illegal immigration and to those folks. All right, let me move this story forward then, just for a second, because the oil, you brought that up, part of the Bureau of Land Management. I know it's one of the things that you work on federal land. You're trying to, what's your goal with the oil here in California? Because our gas prices have gone higher. In fact, July 1st, it's going to go up an extra 65 cents because of refineries being gone.
Well, California's energy policies is the model of what not to do. We have high gas prices and we have high electricity costs because of the policies here in California. What we're trying to do is insert some common sense. We need more domestic oil and gas production. We need to generate more supply to reduce costs and keep our refineries functioning. And so right now, Governor Newsom is not approving any permits. And so right now, energy production and oil production right here in our community is stalled out. The county took action to move permitting on non-federal land, but the Bureau of Land Management, they oversee the operations of our federal lands, and we have over 100 permits right here in Kern County that have been approved to allow for oil production here that would support our small businesses, support our oil field workers, provide revenue to our community. And so what we're saying is that the Bureau of Land Management, they have jurisdiction over federal lands. So let them manage the lands without the interference of the state. The state can provide input, but the Bureau of Land Management, they should have sole jurisdiction so that we can actually begin to produce more oil and gas for our community.
Let me get you into that. So this is last night. Kern County supervisors held a meeting over the proposed rule change for the new oil drilling, and this is exactly what we're talking about. So here's the senior campaign representative from the Sierra Club in that meeting. Take a listen.
And they are interested in making as much money as possible, and they see that with every oil well drilled, they have the ability to get more money, and that is at the expense of public health.
So with that, this basically saying it's all about money and it's not about health. What's your response to that?
That's not true. Look, those groups are trying to demonize our friends and neighbors that work their tails off to power our economy. I mean, if you look at what we're facing right now in California, California is an energy island. We are susceptible to global price shocks, to fuel shortages, because we can't produce our own oil and gas. And so if we don't produce it here in California under the strictest environmental standards, the cleanest possible way, how are we going to get our gasoline? How are we going to get our oil to be refined? We're going to import it. California is going to be forced to import oil from foreign countries, whether it's Ecuador or Venezuela or the Middle East. And I guarantee you, they don't produce that oil in a very clean way. It's the dirtiest oil produced in the world. And not only that, they're going to ship it via across the ocean to our ports using burning bunker fuel. So if we cared about not only lowering the costs for Californians and people in our community, but also creating jobs and revenue and doing it in the most environmentally sensitive way, then we should be producing that oil and gas here. We should produce California oil for Californians by Californians.
It makes sense. I actually, yeah, okay, I agree with that. But of course, it's got to go through you guys. If that big, beautiful bill gets passed or not, you got to work around the agreements. And of course, that's where we're at. We appreciate, Vince, we appreciate your time. If people want to connect with you and they want to reach out to our representative, how do they do that, by the way?
They can call our office. They can send me an email. They can reach me on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter X now. I pride myself in trying to listen to everyone in our community, and so they can reach out to me. Send me a letter by snail mail if they want as well. I read all the comments. I read all the input. We want to have a constructive dialogue when we deal with the challenges facing our country.
Okay, Vince Fong, really appreciate your time, and I guess get the bill done and make it work for the American people.
We're trying. Thank you, Aaron.
All right.